Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. We are
Yay.
in full effect. Oh my God. I've never rushed.
I know. I got scared. I'm going to do this show alone.
No, you're not, Gigi.
I
Not
know.
today, Gigi.
Not today.
Welcome, everybody, to
Whew.
the new edition of Real Estate Unwrapped.
Unwrapped. Oh my
We're
God.
here. We made it. It's Friday.
Yeah. It's a good day. It's a very nice day. Happy, When is are we officially in spring?
Officially, yes,
We
ladies and
are.
gentlemen, we
Yes.
are in spring. I know it doesn't feel like it. It feels like the first day of fall, but it's okay. Just give it a couple of days. Give it a couple of weeks. It'll warm up. Don't worry.
So today, Israel is actually going to have a Viernes con Sabor show at the office at
Viernes
12
con
o'clock.
sabor. Oh
And
my God, Savannah.
yes,
Good morning, my beautiful people. That's the energy
yeah.
that I'm talking about. That's the energy I'm talking. It's Friday, then. Let's
Yeah,
go.
thank you, Savannah. All right, so today, this is this is like a skill building show. We want to share with you like something really, really important,
Mhm.
how to nail your first phone call with a brand new client, a brand new lead. Like you want to make sure you have a fruitful conversation. You want to make sure that you create some sort of a bond right there. Here, where are my notes? I have notes everywhere. You want to come across as a professional, somebody that can be trusted in basically the endeavors where they're about to embark on, which is the biggest purchase of their life for the most part, right?
Yeah,
Because not everybody can just drop that money and buy all cash. Yeah, I'm going to take this right now. It doesn't
no.
happen like that. No.
I've seen some of these people come in and they're just like, I'll buy it right
Yeah.
now. And I'm just like, where's your pre-approval? It's like, don't worry about it. I'll get it.
no, no, I know, but the first impression, because there is so many of us out there, right?
There is.
You're getting a phone call from Zillow. We mainly going to talk about buyers because I think it's really important to really nail the first conversations with buyer, and then when you're more comfortable, you can move into nailing your first conversations with seller, which is the same, pretty much the same to me, the same, right? They
For
have to
sure.
trust you. They want to talk to you again,
I think
right?
it's literally the same. The only difference is that we get into our own heads when we're thinking to ourselves, hey, this is a seller, this is a listing. It's like for us as an agent, listings are like gold.
No, but a buyer is a listing. It's the same thing. You're getting you're being employed by that person to help them find a house.
For
So
sure.
you want to take it a notch further up. You're going to sign an exclusive buyer's agreement, but you basically it's the same thing. It's the same. You're
When
getting whether you're getting a seller's listing or a buyer's listing, same thing.
folks, it's the same thing. I don't know if you understood it, but Gigi had clarified it. It is exactly the same
In
thing.
French,
Difference
since we're gonna have a Spanish day, con sabor, avec
is
saveur, et en français, la même chose. C'est la même chose.
Salamin shows. Am I saying that right?
Perfect.
All right.
Yeah. So the first thing, guys, when you're getting I don't know where you're getting your leads. A lot of us get our leads from Zillow, right?
Correct.
When you're part of a Zillow Premier Agent, or you placed an ad on Facebook and people start calling you up. I think the first, let's go and oh, you know what? Let me add this to the stream. So let me just make it big, big, big. Here you go. Present. The first thing would be to pick up the phone.
Yeah,
I know
guys.
it goes without saying, but it is important once you get those phone calls. And for those Zillow phone calls, it's the same number all the times. It's always the same number. So you should save it up as Zillow $sign $sign. Put like have a nice mindset about that and pick up the call,
Yeah,
because chances are if you miss it, that person is not going to call you back, because you snooze, you lose. They might move on, somebody else may call them, and that's it, you're done,
for
right?
sure.
What's your what's your take on that, Israel?
Well, first of all, I love Israel, but I'm not Israel.
Oh, Ed, sorry.
All right.
There. Yeah,
It's all
you
right.
see,
It's
it's
Friday.
already
It's
messed. I
Friday.
know.
No, it's all good. But it's funny that you mentioned that because it's true. We tend to shy away from that. And one thing that I had a takeaway from one of our meetings with our own team, Gigi, was when Vincent was talking about it. There were three questions that they present. So yes, you could be on the road, you could be on an appointment, you could be eating, you could be cooking your food, about to eat, right?
Yeah,
The whole idea is to pick up the call. You don't have to stay long. You don't even have to take down information. How crazy is this?
yeah.
I'm going to
Here,
tell you
yeah.
guys right now to write these things down. All right.
Here
Three
goes what
simple questions.
Savannah said. I had an unknown caller idea yesterday.
Mhm.
I almost didn't answer. It was a $1.5 million buyer. Exactly the point. So from our, we also have basically channeling through into our CRM system
Mhm.
with, in our team with Ed and Israel. And a lot of the calls come as scam likely,
Yeah.
but I love those scam likely phone calls because I know those are leads, those are like buyers or sellers. So I definitely pick up those phone calls right away. If it's Zillow, I know it. If it comes directly, phone calls from direct website, inquiries or so on and so forth. So I pick up those calls.
Yeah.
That's what we're in this business for, right?
I like to pick up those calls even when they are scam likely. And then I just have a good time with that. They start asking me questions.
You
I start
ask
asking
them if they want to
them
buy a
questions.
house. Yeah.
Start practicing with those individuals. So that's what you should do. All right. Pick up
Yeah.
those scam likelies. And when they try to scam you, try to sell them a house or try to get the listing. Right. But
Yeah.
here's three questions that stood out to me. All right. And if you
Yeah.
folks are paying attention, I'd highly recommend writing it down,
I'm
putting
going
it.
to write it down.
All
I'm going
right.
to actually write it down for you guys. I'm going to put in the comments.
For
Go
sure.
ahead.
So there was three, right? There's three main points that they hit. The first
Okay.
one is the appointment. The second one is location. The third one was motivation, right? So for appointment, simple questions. You pick up the call. Hey, how you doing? My name is Ed. I'm with EXP Realty. Um, I'm speaking with so and so. Yeah. Okay.
Can I
Great.
show you something?
Look at that. Who's that?
Scam likely.
Pick it
I
up.
know. I know.
Pick it up on the call. Let's do a call right now. Geez, go. Right. But
I'm sorry. No, no. I'm
it's
gonna.
all right. But look, the key, like you said, right? Number
Yeah.
one is appointment, right?
Yeah.
So simple questions. Keep it very simple. Hey, thank you for reaching out. I appreciate. I see you're interested in this property. When would you like to see this home? Right?
Right.
When would you like to see this home?
Right away. You're
That's the
not gonna
same
say,
with the
"Let me see
appointment.
if it's available."
Yeah.
No. Yes.
You get 2 dates. I highly recommend you say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, okay, you're interested in this property. When would you like to see it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, today, right now, in the next hour, great. Just in case, if the next hour doesn't work for the sellers, what other days are you available to see this
Right.
home?
You establish you definitely establish the follow-up meeting. You're right.
Yeah.
Very good. That's
So
excellent. Yeah.
it's key there because again, we're not trying to lock it in at that current moment. And even if they say, I want to go see this house right now, I'm free right now, don't get
Sure.
mad at them. You just say, fantastic. Let me see if the seller's available. If today doesn't work, what other days are you available? That way we can coordinate with the sellers and they'll
Yeah.
give you the days, right? The second one is location. What other properties, right? You're speaking to them. Hey, you're
Mm-hmm.
available today. Great. If today doesn't work, tomorrow, fantastic. The other question is location. What other properties would you like to see in this area?
Right.
Because sometimes they're locked in. Sometimes they want to stay in that area. So it's like, hey, you know what? It's in Forest Hills, right? Hey, I like this property in Forest Hills. I want to go see it. Great. What other properties in Forest Hills are you interested in? Try to see
Mm-hmm.
if there's some other pictures that they've taken snapshots on, right? A lot of buyers like to take snapshots on Zillow and send it to their agent and say, hey, I'm interested in this property. So
Right.
most of the time they'll do that. Hey, you know what? Thanks for asking. I appreciate it. You know what? I have other listings that I also saw that I might be interested in. Great.
Right.
Right. Third one is motivation, right? What interests you about that home? What interests you about the home, right? What caught your attention? Why were you interested in
What
that
caught
property?
your eye?
Those
Yeah.
are the
Why
three
did you
questions,
pick that
right?
house? Right.
That's it. This
Right.
is all going to help you
Right. So
establish.
this is not, those are not scripted
No.
things. You
These are just
just
three
need to
simple questions.
remember what you need to say, and it has to come naturally because everybody's going to say, "Oh, I want a script for that."
Yeah, everybody's gonna say,
Yes.
"Oh, do you
Yes
have a
and no, but this is what
scope?"
you need to establish. The appointment first. They want to, you want to see it now. Yes, it's always yes. It's
Yeah,
always approving.
yeah,
Okay, confirming, approving, repeating. Yes, we're gonna see this definitely. You want to see it in an hour? No problem. Let me check with the seller. By the way, if it's not available, if the seller is not available right now, you know what? Other location, same thing.
same thing. It's simple, right? Because you want to keep it simple. None of us have the entire MLS
You're
memorized.
not going to open up in that conversation, and we want to stress it. You're not going to open up the MLS and try to scramble. That
No,
is not the point. The
correct.
point is to establish a bond with that caller,
Mhm.
establish their motivation, right? And sense of urgency, and so on and so forth, and nail that appointment and make sure, like, even if it's not right now, nail your second call back and make sure they answer.
See, that's the
Right.
key. You
Yeah.
said it, right. The first call, the initial call, get them on the phone, ask what they want. Yes, no, you're available.
Right.
Perfect. This
Right.
location, fantastic. What else are you interested in that area? Great. You know what? I'm on the road right now. Let me call you right back as soon as I get to my office, and we'll
Yeah.
go through the conversation at that point.
Right.
That's the second call.
Yeah.
So at that point, so you all have a script now. All you folks that are watching, again, three simple questions. When would you like to see the home?
Yeah.
Location? What other
Where
property
is what are
would
the
you like to
properties you
see?
see in this area, or what other areas? Yeah.
And then motivation.
Right.
What interested you about this home? And
Right.
that's it. End the call. Call them back later when you have your script, your computer in front of you, the MLS in
Right.
front of you, and now you can have a full
In
blown.
my earlier years, when we didn't have even laptops. So you're getting a call, and it was not even the Zillow Premier because that didn't even exist. So you're trying to scramble into logging into MLS, and it was the dial-up internet. Imagine that. So let's forget about all that. Trying
Maybe
to
some of our viewers don't know what that is, right? I just want to be clear. Like they hear dial up,
yeah,
and it's
thank
like,
you.
what? What is that? Was that some form of
So
Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi?
yeah, I know. It's amazing. So guys, just it's not about the property, it's about establishing the contact with
That's
that
it.
person. Yeah.
Make the connection. That's all you got to do.
So another tip, which is extremely important, make sure you talk to them, not at them. All right.
Mm,
Yes, they could be coming across as you call that, like, very needy and impatient, and they want this right away. Sure.
yeah.
So you want to make sure you come across as you're going to listen to their need, you're going to listen to what they say, you're interacting,
Mhm.
you're asking questions after you really listen. It's not automatic questions where, like, you want to get to the point yourself. It's
Yeah.
just listen to them, right? And establish the connection with casual questions.
Correct.
Casual, same thing, not scripted. All right.
Casual and open-ended questions.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me see. So same thing. You talk about, you have to also be excited. Okay. And that's going to bring me to this third slide. Bring the right energy level with you, and I'm going to tell you why I'm saying that. A lot of you know that all those Zillow Premier calls are being recorded in our CRM. Our phone calls are being recorded, and I caught myself, and I'm gonna admit to it, mea culpa. I caught myself re-listening to those conversations I had with first-time callers.
Yeah.
Cringeworthy. You're like, holy crap, how
It's
did I
okay.
sound? Like, if you're being caught off guard, you're doing something, you're picking up the phone, and you forget because you're busy with something else, or your mind is
It
is
happens.
somewhere else. Your energy can be off-putting. I'm not saying it's negative, but the way you answer the phone is not warm enough. It's a little bit cold. It's a little bit non how you call that? You're like you're not there. You're
Yeah,
first talking to the person, but you're not there. You know,
sounds like
you're
you
not
spaced out.
linking, right?
Yeah. No, listen, it's
So
happened to me. It's happened to me. What I like to do in the what helps me, what I like to do in these instances, and that's the only reason why I do it, is because I don't care who you are, I don't care how excited you are. When you pick up the phone and the first thing you say is hello,
right,
I don't care if you're excited, sad, mad, hello just sounds like hello.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? It already drags.
yeah,
So what
yeah,
I like to do is I don't care if I've already, I mean, for the ones that I've actually have saved in my phone, like friends, like Gigi, when you call me, for example, I'll pick up and say, hey, Gigi, you know what
yeah,
I mean? But if it's a client that I'm working with, customer that I'm working with, their phone is saved in my, their phone number is saved in my phone. If I pick up, I know it's them. The way
right,
I open the conversation is either good morning, good afternoon, or good night. Hey,
right.
good morning. This is Edward.
That's what I
That
do. I'm
sounds
like,
good.
hi, good afternoon or good morning. This is Gigi with
Right?
EXP Realty. And I'll
100%.
do this with agents, with sellers, with buyers.
Everybody.
Just want to make sure, like sometimes they have a hard time. My
Yeah.
MLS, my basically my legal name is Ghislaine Pierre Zakrzewski, right? So try to remember that, try to pronounce that if you're not from where
I don't
I'm
know if you
from in
sneeze. I don't
Poland.
know if you sneeze right
Huh?
there. I don't know if that was a sneeze or
Imagine, so I just open up by telling them this is how they're gonna address me. Hi, this is Gigi. And look,
that's
the
it. That's
smile.
it. That's the
That
other thing.
smile you have to put it on your face. You have to, and you know what? Unconsciously, it's gonna change your whole but what do you call that? The physiology is gonna change
Yes.
the whole thing. You're automatically perking up, being happy about it.
You-
And the buyers want to hear this. They want to hear somebody enthusiastic, somebody who's willing to help them out, right?
Naturally, your endorphins, if you smile naturally, you're going to feel that energy flowing through your body. Another key
Right,
is you're making that call. We've said it before, put a mirror in front of you, right?
right.
Make your calls with the mirror in front of you. You know why? Because at that moment, you're going to notice as you're speaking on the phone, you're going to be like, hello, yes,
Right.
you're
Yeah,
interested
yeah,
in this
yeah.
property. And then when you see your face, you're like, holy shit, I look, excuse my French, holy crap, I look dead,
This is no censorship here. Yeah.
right? So it's like,
Yeah.
then you're gonna catch yourself. Yeah, sure. Okay, great. You're interested in this property? Fantastic. What's your budget? You want to buy a 3-bedroom apartment in Forest Hills for 100,000? Fantastic.
Wait, but hold on. The key is also not to sound fake.
Of
Like,
course.
hello, how we doing today? No, no,
That
no,
sounds like
no,
Mrs.
no.
Doubtfire.
You have to have a happy medium right there.
Hello.
you know,
Hey.
so you need to establish the same thing. Where was my little sentence right here?
Oop.
Um, sorry. Oh no, here I changed my page already. Yes, so establishing a meaningful emotional impression, like
Yes,
this is your first few seconds.
that's
They
it.
don't know you from anywhere.
Yep.
Like you have to be, it has to be a pleasant experience from the minute they pick up the phone. I have an accent that I probably will never get rid of because it's too late. Anyway, and it doesn't even really matter. But at the beginning of my real estate career, I was really self conscious about that,
Everybody.
extremely, because there's still to this day some people that bluntly come and say to my face, I do not understand one word you say. So, but I get it. It's okay, it happens. But
It's true.
it doesn't matter, You just make sure you're able to establish that little it's non-tangible connection, but you
Yep.
have to establish it right away. It's so
Correct.
important.
Correct.
And again, it could be a $1.5 million buyer
That's
with
true.
30% down. You never know,
You never know who's
right?
going to be on the other line. The only thing I could
Yeah,
tell you is take the eyes off of yourself. Okay. Too many times we look in the mirror. We hate the way we sound. We hate the way we look. We hate the way
right,
we interact. We
right.
hate this.
Yeah.
We hate that. And we don't realize that
We're not
that's
ready. We
literally
don't know enough about real
30.
estate. Yeah, I know all this
It's
BS.
recognized. So the way to look at it is, look, if you're gonna make it, sit down and just push all that stuff out of your mind and just say, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm the professional, right? You took 75 hours to get your license, to now be practicing real estate. And I'm not saying that I opened the book after my license. It's been a couple years, it's collected dust. Maybe it'll make a good fire pit. But you know what? At the end of the day, I went through that. So the buyer, the seller, whoever's calling me on the other line, my thought process is, hey, you know what? I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about. And I have confidence in what I believe. And that's what I'm going to share. If you like it or not, that's on you. And that's the way you should approach it every single time.
Yeah. And then again, I mean, let's go to the third. What is it? Oh, the fourth point.
The fourth one.
The fourth point is be respectful of the person's time, especially if you're able to actually call back the person, especially if you haven't been able to answer the phone right away. And it's the same thing. It's your first conversation. This time you're the one making the call.
Correct.
So you have to make sure you're respectful of their time. You need to make sure that even when they're the one calling and you feel like you sense that you're going to go into a conversation, make sure it is the appropriate time to talk. You can ask them, is this a good time? Do we have a couple of minutes? Or should we just do this at a later time today where it's more convenient and we can go over this and this and that. So I think it's very important to be mindful of this, especially when you're returning the phone call, that lead, that potential client, customer should be probably in the middle of something. Correct. And also is the way you approach them. So many times like, call me back. And I'll take it where it's me, my approach. Maybe, I need to sweeten the honey a little bit more. And it's, like maybe I did not convey that message again that was calling in regards to whatever they were looking at, because we always see, like when you miss a phone call, especially on Zillow, and they were looking at this and this and that. So make sure you're able to grab their attention and, show them courtesy.
Yeah.
And make sure they're currently available to discuss. And that will somewhat unconsciously establish again, like more trust and respect, like for you as a professional, because that's what you want to do, establish yourself as a professional. And it has to be subtle. And you can be like, oh, I'm so good. Look at my track record, right?
Yeah.
All right.
There's things that we should always look for. In my opinion, you could be one or the other. You can either be a sales rep, right? Like everybody looks at realtors as salespeople. No disrespect to any car salesmen out there, but
no, because we're doing sales and it's
correct,
true. Right. But it's the connotation of the salesperson that we want to remove.
That's what it is. You don't want to be so salesy. You want to be relatable. Right.
So you want to be a consultant. They need to be able to trust you for your advice, for your service.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say either you're a sales rep or you're gonna be a consultant, or what I like to say is a real estate advisor. Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Now people look to you as an advisor. It's like, hey, I have these ideas. What do you think? When people start coming to you and asking you questions about that, that's when you know, hey, look, I'm in a position. I don't want to say a position of power, but you're in a position of knowledge at that point that people trust what you say. So whenever you come across with that information, you want to deliver it as best as you can. Deliver it as best as you can. Like Gigi said, be relatable. And that's it. I like to set the tone in the conversation, right? In the beginning, it's like, hey, you got a couple of minutes to chat. Hey, this call might take about 15 minutes. Is that good? 15, 20 minutes? You have 15, 20 minutes that you can kind of, we can have this conversation. Yes, no. Yeah. If they say no, great. What's a better time that I can get back to that we can maybe spend 10, 15
or
minutes?
Even if you have 5 minutes, you can say 5 minutes. Okay, let me see what I can do in that time. You can establish certain things and set up your whatever you need to do at the next call and establish the next schedule for the next call and just move on.
100%.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So I hope you guys
Israel would say on this one too. It's he likes to always throw in the conversation. It's only gonna take 15 minutes of your time.
Right.
And it's free.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because everything is subconscious, right? Everything we say, the words that we choose are either gonna make them excited about what saying, or they're gonna make them turn off. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. So again, no scripts there. Those are tips that you just can get back to and watch this segment again. And I think they're very, very important for nailing your first call, because this is like the most crucial, we're going to repeat again, this is the most crucial call. It's to just make sure it's a successful call that will lead to an appointment, that will lead to an offer, that will lead to a sale. All right,
It's
next.
it's crucial, but don't scare him, Gigi, because then it's like it's crucial, and then it's
No.
like so I wanted to add to that is, yeah, you're right. It is crucial, but guys, you have to take it like a conversation, like a normal
Right.
conversation.
Right.
Don't get
And
flustered.
no, you can't. And it's something you get better at the more you do it.
Correct.
Right.
100%.
Right.
The
It's
more you
just the
practice,
art of the conversation. And I'm not saying you don't have to be a social person. You could be super introverted and still achieve the same result.
yeah.
You know? So that brings us to number 5. Stay in question mode.
Ooh.
All right. So now you answer the phone, you approach it like a human conversation, and a strategy to really apply all the time in order to get the most out of that conversation and get the most out of what this buyer or this seller needs
Mhm.
is ask questions. Stop talking about yourself, how good you are. Nobody gives all right. Ask question about their need for the house, their motivation, their timeline. We don't have to go definitely. It's not always necessarily say, do you have a pre-approval? You can say, did you go through the mortgage process? Did you meet with a loan officer? Did he tell you what you can afford? Like nicely, in a conversation.
Everything has to
Not
be conversational and it has to flow. You have to keep in mind that you're going back and forth, right? It's like you're playing catch, right? That's the only thing I could think of. You're playing catch and you have the ball, and now you ask the question and you stay quiet and you throw the ball now to the other person.
right.
And now
And
they answer.
let me deepen this a little bit here because I have a note. Like the deeper you can go in the conversation, the more you can direct that conversation by asking all those questions. And that's easier to establish yourself as a leader in the process rather than just a commodity.
Correct.
Right? So you want to be not the salesperson, but the advisor.
Correct.
Because you listen to what they need, what they're looking for, what they're looking to accomplish, their wish, their wants, and all this. Then once you absorb this, you can actually take the conversation in the direction that is beneficial to you and just move on. Like you get them, you totally get it, right? And that's going to bring us to another next thing, which is proving yourself. And let me just bring that slide up. Proving your value as an agent.
So I think a lot of people ask this question, right? Because we always say it and we throw it out there and it goes, hey, make sure you're providing value. How do you get the clients? You provide value, right? But I feel like there's like it's such a generic or broad overview of value. It's like, what really is the value? And for me, I can't get stuck on just one specific thing. I can't just say, hey, you know what? Value is me bringing.
Look who's coming.
Yeah.
Look who's coming.
What's going on, people?
What's up, Israel? Look at that.
Hold on,
That
let me
is
share
suit.
the.
I thought you had a bow
Look at
tie
this.
on.
You want to share this so you can hear? Look, anyway, close. Can you
Yes.
see us? Hold on.
Hello, people. How are we doing?
What's up?
Israel had a hell of a morning. Okay, I gotta
yeah.
give that to him.
Oh yeah.
It's like we're gonna have this Viernes con Sabor.
Viernes con sabor.
Yes. And it's last minute prep. But we were like talking about proving your value as an agent.
Yeah.
Again, because you asked so many questions.
Yes.
Right? You good?
You actually have to. I mean, honestly, as an agent, asking questions is really the best way to actually know about your buyers. I mean, if you don't ask questions and you're talking about too much statements, it's all about you. It's not about them.
Right.
So the more you know about them, the more you deep dive into it. Remember, don't ask in the sense you're doing it as an interview, but ask as you're curious to know why they want to buy or why they want to sell. So really, it's about questions. It's about having to sort of a casual conversation with that person to know what they have to say, know how they, know what they're looking for. What are their wishes and wants? Hello, Joseph. Hello, Savannah. So I just really wanted to make sure that everybody understands that when you're actually out there, showing the values of yourself, you're showing that you're actually listening to them, and then you're going to provide them with some information as well.
So right before you got here, the question was, again, we just did it, and Israel, you just proved what I just did.
You just even bring more value to that first point we had.
But the key here is, what is the value? Because I feel that people get hung up on what's the value. We could sit here and provide value all day, but the question,
the value comes when, again, by asking all those questions, you're going to see where they're going to need the most guidance. And then this is when you can pretty much adjust the conversation, right?
Correct.
And there, that's where you can also actually put yourself in a position of more strength, because those buyers or sellers, they haven't gone through this process as many times as we have.
Right.
So again, because of all the questions, because you're interested in where they are at in the purchasing process, how much do they know, what do they want, what do they wish, you're able to, and again, this is not scripted because it's different for everybody. You're able to say, here, they may not understand that, because I work with a lot of sellers. So a lot of the times I see discrepancies where they don't even understand the whole agency relationship, like seller agency, buyer agency, broker agency. So that's where you're able to sometimes establish your value. I'm saying, here, don't worry about it. I'm gonna guide you through it. We're gonna work with cooperating agent, whether they're buyer's agents or broker's agents, whatever. And you dissipate that little, what you're seeing, could be like a little bit state of confusion or misinformation.
Yes.
And you can just clear that off. Again, because you ask the question so many times, and they're like, okay, they're there. They don't understand. Or they think, I may not need, if they're buyers, I may not need an inspection or whatever. Oh, my husband is a painter. Okay. I mean, how many times I've heard this? Oh, yeah, he knows construction. He's a painter.
Yeah.
Okay. Construction and painter.
Sure. Well, the value also has to do with the vendors that we know, right?
Right.
So honestly, that's involved in the sense of, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I would probably, just to kind of like tie it all together, because what I think is, from what you're both saying, is to turn it into like a simple just statement. It's literally asking those questions to pull the information from the buyer in that process, or even the seller in that process, as they're telling you what they're going through, what they have expected, what they didn't know. That's when you can start to see, okay, you didn't know this. This is where I can provide value. I can now educate you in this, right? Oh, you didn't have a lender. You never spoke to a lender before. Here's my value. I have a lender that you can speak with. Now we can get you pre-approved. Oh, you didn't have an attorney. Here's my value. Guess what? I got an attorney. Oh, you need a Spanish-speaking attorney? Guess what? I got a Spanish-speaking attorney.
Right. Or simple things like the difference between a co-op and a condo. When you have buyers that are going to come look at a regular co-op and they say, yeah, I just want to buy this, and it's an investment. It's like, okay, let me tell you about this. That we might change direction on this one.
All of a sudden it turns gears on the side.
Yeah.
But you know what's good though? When you finish the conversation and you know that you provided value, when they end the call like, wow, what's crazy? Like, I've spoken to other agents and they've never given me this information that you gave me just now.
Right.
When you get that kind of response, in my opinion, you don't need to sign nothing with that person. Keep providing value. They're going to trust you. They're going to work with you. They're going to follow you through the trenches, I would say, through the process, right? To get that house or to sell that house or whatever, vice versa,
That's very true. Right. I mean, it's really, they need to know what you have in your back pockets. So, and once you start providing all that information, then it becomes more valuable.
And you're not going to basically regurgitate that knowledge. It comes out only when needed. And that's where comes the strategy. Because you have listened to that buyer, that seller, then only when needed. Because if you're just going to like, I'm going to tell you what this is done. It doesn't work. This is a turn off.
People don't want to be re-informed in things that they
that goes back to our second thing. People don't want to be talked at. They want to be talked to.
Of course.
Right?
Can you imagine the conversation you have with, an interview versus just a conversation? So,
Right.
And the values that you get more out of a conversation versus an interview.
Right. Yeah.
So, what else are we doing? What's going on?
Yeah. So, do we have a bit of time? I know today is going to be a shorter segment.
We're at 6
and
right now.
we're going to probably spend a little bit more time on the next segment right here.
Really? Ooh.
Adapt your strategy to each situation. And if you can look at the photo that I chose.
You couldn't find a better photo.
No, I know. Okay, it's pixelated, but take a look at why I chose it. What do you see here?
Obama.
Yeah, that's all anybody sees, man.
No, but look at.
Nobody knows the guy he's sitting across. All people know is, that's Obama.
You remember, guys, when we were actually prepping for this segment, we were talking about mirroring, mirroring the customer. Look at what. I don't know who is mirroring who in this one, but I pretty much think that Obama is doing it because he's been very inverse into dealing with conversation and the art of persuasion and so on and so forth. So he has the same exact stance as his interlocutor.
I have no idea.
Interlocutor. Yes, is his counterpart. Is his protagonista? Is his
no. I'm trying to check my W2. I'm trying to check my Webster. I can't
Webster
see my
in his head.
I can't see my Webster on that one.
Has his
Ed, anything on your Webster? No.
I don't know the word. Usually I could translate what Gigi says, but today that word.
You don't need this.
No, that word's not working.
But yeah, it's a little hard.
Do you hear it?
No, I don't hear it. Go ahead. Look at it.
Because if we do this,
I like real quick, guys. I like what Savannah said, and it's true. And this is when the mirroring happens. This is where people are kind of, again, paying attention, right? So she said people who are engaged in conversation. I actually took a course, and I'm glad you brought that up, Savannah. I took a course where they were talking about body expressions. And whenever someone leans in the way you see both of them leaning in right now, that means that they're engaged, right? They're engaged, they're activated, they're listening, they're attentive, they're responding to each other, right? But I think Gigi and Israel lost audio, which is fine. I know they'll jump on as soon as they get it. But that right there is important, right? Because if you're not mirroring each other, if you're not kind of leaning back and forth, if you're not engaged, the other person is just going to clearly be not interested, right? Like they're going to get the feeling that person's not paying attention to me. They really don't care about what I'm talking about.
Right.
So at that point, you walk away, right? But in this case, like I said, to tie it back to what Savannah says, I know you guys lost your audio. I said these guys lost audio because they're not talking.
We were hearing you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mentioned that only because Savannah had brought up again, people who are
engaged in conversation. Yeah.
Usually when you see people lean in like that, they're engaged,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really.
If somebody's more laid back, and that's what I mentioned.
Right. You're going to adapt. Right.
Yeah.
You can. Right. And again, still having different personalities, me, if knowing that I'm a very high I and I'm going to start talking with Israel and go off of a tangent and talk about my cat, you see his face?
I'm allergic to cats. I don't want to hear it.
It's just I'm going to lose him right there. Like you cannot tell him the little stories and stuff. Straight to the point. Let's go, guys. Let's not deviate from what the subject of what it is.
Right.
While some other consumers and clients you're going to talk to, they want to hear about your cat story. That's going to establish that bond. But you have to pick on it.
See, but the thing is, to add on to that is that to adapt makes perfect sense because, again, if I ask a question to a person like Gigi who may talk a lot, who may provide a lot of more information, just one question, and I just shut up and listen, then that's me adapting to that position. That's me adapting to what I need to hear, what they have to say, and then strategize a great way to actually maybe help what they need help in.
Yeah, and while that person that talks a lot is talking, they give you a lot of information.
A lot.
Right, and you're going to be able to take the conversation in the direction you want because of the information they gave you, right?
Those are the easiest personalities, I think, to work with. Not just because we possess some of them, but it's just like you said, they tend to release all the information that
Yes,
like
yes,
you
yes,
ask
yes.
one question and that one question hit the nerve.
Pandora's box. That's
They're
it.
going to talk about their dad,
Right.
mom,
Right.
house, where they
They'll give
grew
you the
up,
social securities. Yep.
right? And then for you, again, like Israel said, that's where you shut up and listen. You, if you got a book in front of you, take notes, right?
Right.
That's it.
Because
Yeah.
the key there is, right, when you get to the point where this person sees a house that they've actually explained to you that this is like a dream house for them, and then they get there and they're like, oh no, but this. That's when you go back to them and say, oh, you didn't like the staircase in the front, but I thought you said you wanted 3 bathrooms. This house has
Right.
3 bathrooms. Oh, I
Right.
thought you said you wanted to live in this location. Look where we're at. I thought you said as long as we were meeting these criterias, you should be okay. Look at where we're at. So that's the person you got to be. It's not so much that you're gonna go ahead and be like, what is wrong with you? It's more like, hey, you said this. Remember when you said this? Yeah. So
Yeah, you can retrace nicely and say,
Right.
according to the notes, the last notes I had, you had mentioned this, this, and this.
Yes.
You know,
I can't tell you how many
and
times.
you can tie it to something that was personal in the conversation.
100%.
Right? So it was because of your job or because of your dad and this and that, and this is what you wanted. Yeah.
Right.
And that's how you connect the two, right? Because at the end of the day, they're gonna want to look at anything, right? Like I had a buyer, I had a small story. I had a buyer that was interested in this property, but I showed her a few already. She's already explained to me the type of home that she wants. She wants a finished home. She sends me a photo of a home that's not finished. So I had that conversation with her. I'm like, hey, look, I know we spoke. I know when you last told me you were looking for a newly finished home, renovated. You didn't want to do any work to it. This home isn't that. You're probably going to have to put 100K into this house. Oh, what's the asking price? 720,000.
Right.
Oh, that's too much. You see what I'm saying? So I could have easily went and took that buyer to go see the house, even though that house didn't meet their criterias. That's wasting time. But because I listened, because I took notes, because I understood what they were looking for, I'm not wasting time on that showing. It's like, don't even go see it.
Right.
Based off of the pictures, everything looks all right. But I've been there, and I'm telling you right now that you're going to walk out of there and you're going to be like, this house.
And again, we're not door openers, we're consultants, we're advisors. So yes, when something is wrong, where the approach of the buyer after everything that you listen to is wrong, you can actually put them back into the right path and say, hold on, oh, you want a $2 million house? I'll show you one, sure. But then we're never doing that again because you cannot afford that.
I mean, then it goes back to 3 things. I mean, Ed, I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions real quick, but first, it always depends on the qualifications. You qualifying the buyer or seller. You qualify if you're talking about buyers, you qualify them thoroughly in the sense of exactly knowing what their wishes and wants and what are their deal breakers. Correct. So then, Ed, what I was going to ask is that if you do go to that point of knowing that this person is actually not exactly wanting that particular thing that they said from the beginning.
Yeah.
What do you do next? I mean, how do you handle that next? Because I'm sure a lot of people would love to know, what's the next step on that.
When people just give you, so a lot of the times I see it when you have like a couple, 2 people, 2 decision makers, right? Do you see that, Ed? And one of the parties has a strong idea that like we want this, we want that, and this is how we talked about it for so long last weekend. It was so great. And then the husband or the wife comes back and they have a conversation after looking at some properties, and all of a sudden you're having a different. It's like new people you're talking to, right? They want new stuff. So again, it comes back to what did we miss? Where didn't we see it? Did we address really the right person at that time? The person who's, because you think you have one decision maker, and a lot of time you're gonna think it's the husband, but it's really not. But it's again, those learning curves. So you have to adapt and
that's why
change the trajectory, right? Yeah.
But that's why it's important that when you're on a call with these individuals and you're saying, hey, oh, you're looking to buy this house? Fantastic. Are you the only decision maker that's looking to buy this house? Are you buying this house by yourself?
But you're still gonna have curveballs, whatever, it's still gonna happen.
Look, I'm not saying that all my appointments are perfect. Far from it. But what we're doing is we're limiting wasted time.
Sure.
Because as a realtor, we can, even though we think that we're doing activities that are income producing activities, we're not.
Right? Exactly. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, these little things would help you along the way, right? Like in the
Absolutely.
beginning, for example, in the beginning, you're a new agent, you meet with people. Yeah, you know, I'm good. My credit's good, you know, no problem. Income's good, no problem, right? As a new agent, right? Some of us have taken that individual and showed them 10 houses, 15 houses, 20 houses. But when it's time to get it all together, apparently they don't qualify.
Mm-hmm.
So now we
Mm-hmm.
wasted time. But if we would have went through that process in the beginning, we could have sent them information, taken them to the right lender, get them fully qualified, and then say, now we're going to take the right steps. But I
Right.
wasted. At that time, gas was cheap. Gas wasn't that expensive. It's great. But at that time, I learned something, right? I was like, you know what? Everybody's like, oh my God, I'm never taking somebody without a pre-approval again. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Take that
Right.
person, hold their hand, right? Because now we're building the relationship. Now we're creating value in that person's eyes, and take them to the lender. Hey, get
But
pre.
again, to take with a grain of salt, I've had some people coming to me and say, like saying, bringing their bank statement from the phone. Look, I have $370,000. I want to buy
Okay.
$800,000 house.
You have
I'm not
300.
even asking.
I'm
I'm not even
this is
asking
you.
the pre-approval.
I'm gonna respond to you like if you're the buyer. You're showing me 300,000 and you want to buy a house for how much?
Hey,
How are you gonna do that?
well, you're gonna go through the mortgage.
Who's gonna go through the mortgage? You?
The buyer is gonna get a mortgage.
Okay.
I
so
don't necessarily want to see the mortgage pre-approval.
Mm.
That's fine. But what I'm saying
Right?
is, like, here's the thing, because we're gonna get that, right? Somebody that's watching this is gonna one day come up to like, when you said that happened to me, right?
Yeah.
So the key is, if somebody says, look, my credit is good. Look at my credit, 800 credit. Okay. Look,
But
I got
that's different.
500K
Credit
in
and
the
money.
bank. I got 500K in the bank, but I want to buy $1 million house. So where are you going to get the
Okay.
other 500K from? Oh, I
You're
got
gonna
to
get a
take out a
mortgage.
mortgage. Have you been pre-approved yet or not yet? Nah, I know somebody, but it's going to happen fast. Great. When are you looking to buy?
I've shown some property. Again, not I'm not on the buyer side. I usually it comes because of the house. I'd show them the property, and I'm still willing to show them, and I'm not really worried.
Yeah, I actually have to agree with that.
And it's also depending a lot of the times culturally, not everybody will go through the mortgage process right
Correct.
away. You also
Culturally, I
have
like that you said
really,
that.
like we are guys, we're in Queens, we have so many different, again, that goes back to adapting to different strategies
Right.
to each situation, mirroring and being really aware of the cultural differences
Yeah.
and some of the protocols, because you have different cultures, different protocols, right?
That's true.
And it's, again, nothing scripted, and we're learning as we go along.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, look, clients, however you want to see it, will only do business with people they know
And they like.
and they like.
And they like it.
Right. So,
Right.
in the long run, I mean, honestly, the examples you guys gave as far as 800, 300, and
Sure.
a million to 500, I agree. I'll still show it because why? Let me explain one reason. Houses, you can do up to 3.5 if you choose.
Right.
It's only when it comes to the point of saying, I want to do a co-op at this price. I'm like, whoa, let's talk business. Right. But when you do condos and co-ops, condos and houses, it's a different world.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would still show it. So honestly, it's all about adapting and making sure that they actually
adapting, and then working with sellers. Last point, and I think we're going to leave a little bit early today because Israel has Viernes con Sabor coming up at 12 o'clock in the office.
We got 12 minutes, G's. 12 minutes.
I just wanted to make a point. Like, we had this seller with Vincent who's extremely analytical and up to the point of signing the listing and up to the point of having offers and stuff. He sent us spreadsheets of what he thought was CMAs. After we showed him a CMA, we have to go back with our thoughts and actually give him those different spreadsheets and prove our points. And I am not a number person, and this is probably one of the person where we had to do the most spreadsheet sharing. But you have to do it.
Person is the complete opposite of Gigi. That's what it is.
That's pretty much what
that's why Gigi was like, oh.
But it's okay. We do it. We got to do it.
You have to. Like you said, you have to adapt. That's all it is.
Yeah.
All
So
right, that
guys,
person needed
yeah.
more attention, so you gave it to him. No
I
problem.
think we're going to end the show pretty earlier than usual today, and I think because I think we got all our points.
Absolutely. I agree.
Please keep on sending your questions. You can actually
Absolutely.
text Israel,
Yes.
Ed, myself. You guys
Yes.
can find us by now. You know where we are.
Always. Wow, this is weird to have two people on one screen. I mean,
Yeah,
see
I
how
know,
you guys
I
did it.
know.
So thank you, everyone. Again, it's Friday. Happy Fridays.
Yes.
Today's gonna be a special
Oh,
edition.
and it's
Oh
my God, we're starting having
So
a whole bunch of people in
here.
the office coming.
You better
in.
save me. You better save me a couple of empanadas, all right? Because I heard.
Honestly, I think that's why people are here. They're not
Yes.
for my class.
All right, guys, how do you say have
I'll
a
talk
good
to you,
weekend
man.
in Spanish? How you
Que
say that?
tenga un buen fin de semana.
Bonne fin de semaine. Same thing.
Thank
Say it in
you.
French. Say it in French.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
guys. Arrivederci.
Thanks,
Bye.
Joseph. Take care. Have a good day, everyone. Happy Friday. Enjoy the weekend. Well, oh my God, they left while we were still live. All right, everybody. I guess it's my show now. Let's go. It's party time. Have a good week, everybody.